week I wanted to start a series on my channel that has been suggested to me, and I thought it would be a really good idea because I love Star Wars. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing the first week of every month. I'm going to put out a video reviewing all 9 of the episodic Star Wars films. That's all the way from the Phantom Menace to Rise of Skywalker. And I'm super excited to get on this because I love Star Wars. I have a little bit of love in the original trilogy. I'm just letting you know up front. I have love for the original trilogy. I have a little bit of beef with the new trilogy that has just come out over the recent years. And then the prequels, I have a little bit of a rocky relationship with as well. And we're going to talk about the Phantom Menace today, which starts off the prequels. But Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was directed by George Lucas. It starred Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, and Jake Lloyd. This movie kicks off the entire Star Wars franchise by establishing the world of Star Wars and shows the story of 2 Jedis, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, as they find Anakin Skywalker, who they believe could be the chosen one who is prophesied to destroy the evil and powerful Sith once and for all. And they also deal with a bunch of, space politics and junk that nobody cares about. The first few opening sequences of this movie is actually, pretty decently okay. I don't really have anything wrong with it. There's some pretty good talking scenes where they set up the world, they set up the plot, I like how they set up also the Jedi as characters. They show how powerful they can be. They also show some pretty cool action sequences, I guess, with Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor. I don't really have anything bad or wrong to say about the opening scene. But as you know with the prequels, it doesn't last long, because after that we're introduced to Jar Binks. I want to see how George Lucas thought this would be a good idea to create this character and put him in the Star Wars universe and put him in this movie. I really want to see how that could be a good idea, but I don't. He is one of the most annoying characters, and I think George Lucas underestimated how universally hated this character and it would be, how annoying he would be. Everything that happens all throughout this movie is already bad enough. And so when you throw Jar Binks into the mix, it takes on this whole new level of awfulness. There isn't really a species in the Star Wars universe that I look at and go, wow, I hate that species. But I don't know, the Gungans, I have a lot of trouble with the Gungans, mainly just because of Jar Binks. The whole idea of having these Gungans as characters in this movie, could we have made them less annoying? I mean, for real, why did you do this, George? The next big issue that I have with this movie, and really just the prequels in general, is that the whole movie feels like it takes place on a green screen. It doesn't feel like there are real, actual sets or even sometimes real people on the screen. You know, scenes that I'm thinking of are scenes where they have big droid armies, or scenes where somebody's talking out on a balcony and there's a big fake backdrop that just looks completely awful. Everything just seems like they went overboard on the CGI. And I know that this is right around the time when CGI first kind of came out, and I'm sure they wanted to test it out, and I'm sure back then it probably looked really good, but right now it just does not hold up. And I think I noticed stuff like that because the CGI that we have today, it's almost photorealistic if you can use it properly, if you can execute that well. It looks fantastic. And so when I see old CGI like this that I could do better with my iPhone, I mean, it looks like crap. I want to mention the acting in this movie as well. Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman. These are just 3 of the really big stars in this. And everyone else, along with these super big actors, these aren't low budget actors right here. Everyone in this movie, including them, just deliver their lines in the same way like this, in the same monotone voice. They don't ever inflect their voice. They just stay just like this, No matter what's going on, they also show no emotion in their face. They all talk at the same speed. Everything is just so boring. It's so lazy the way that they deliver their lines, and I really can't fault the actors that are in this movie for delivering their lines like this, because I don't think, as an actor, as someone who loves to be a part of movies and wants to dive right into a character in a movie, I feel like as an actor you wouldn't do that. Maybe as a child actor, because you just don't know how to deliver your lines. You know, we see that from Jake Lloyd in this movie, which is, it's a really bad child performance. But I don't think that actors would come in and just deliver their lines like that. To me, that is George Lucas right there. George Lucas is coming in and saying, I want you to deliver your lines like this. And I really can't fault the actors. And I feel bad for giving them crap for doing that. I also feel bad for giving George Lucas crap, because I know he gets enough from people who just dislike his movies just because, like, they're just haters on his movies, and they tell him how crappy the sequels and stuff are. But why would you say, I want you to deliver your lines like this, I want you to be like this the entire movie? It just is so weird and bizarre, and I really don't understand it. Finally, my biggest issue with this movie is that it just constantly and consistently feels completely boring. One of the greatest things about the original Star Wars, I keep calling it the old Star Wars because it is older, but I like just calling it the original Star Wars. The original Star Wars movies, they always felt like when people were just sitting and talking, that it was super exciting, and then when you had a really big action scene, it was super exciting. Everything balanced each other out perfectly. And in this movie, there is so much sitting and talking, sitting and talking, sitting and talking, that it just gets so boring. And it's not like anything in the scenes where they're sitting and talking is exciting. There's nothing to get your blood pumping. There's nothing to get you up and sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for what's going to happen next. There's nothing like that. Rarely is there a moment where an exciting action scene takes place, or something other than an action scene is just exciting at all. The only real excitement I get in this movie is towards the end when Darth Maul comes on the screen. Darth Maul, along with everyone else, I feel like, who loves Star Wars or even just dislikes Star Wars, will say that Darth Maul is one of the coolest characters in Star Wars, period. He's an excellent character. I remember seeing his lightsaber when it first comes out, and there's it's almost like there's two, but it's really one, like, big long lightsaber, and the way he wielded it and everything like that, it gives me the chance as a nerd to completely nerd out about something like that. Not to mention the costuming and the makeup that they put on him is absolutely flawless. That part of the movie I absolutely love. I love every scene with Darth Maul. I also love the very ending of this movie where Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor are in this massive fight, and you hear John Williams' music all just go up around you. That's the one part of the movie where I felt like I enjoy it the most, and I'm legit excited about what's going on. But the rest of the movie is just so boring. As much as I've crapped on this movie, I do want you to know that I love Star Wars. Star Wars has always been something that I really love. I've always been able to watch it with my family. We've always been able to enjoy it together. It's always been something that I've always looked at and thought, wow, it's such a cool world. It's such a cool environment to be in. The writing in it is excellent. The directing in it is normally pretty good. But I just feel bad for people who come into Star Wars and watch this movie first. I feel like if they're introduced to this, I feel like it kind of steers them away from actually being able to experience the greatness of Star Wars that comes later on. Once it gets to Star Wars 3 is where it starts to get vastly different and vastly better. And I feel like if you are new to Star Wars and you watch this movie first, you need to push through. I mean, like, as a Star Wars fan, I can push through this and I can deal with the Phantom Menace. But if you are new to Star Wars and you're giving this a shot and you're thinking, wow, after watching the Phantom Menace, I don't think I can go further on, I promise you it gets better and if you stick with it, I promise it's going to pay off. With that, I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, 2 stars out of 5, or a C for the letter grade. Like I was saying, I really love Star Wars, and I'm willing to put up with this movie because I know that it gets better as it goes on. I'm able to look forward to that. So I'm probably going to rate this a little bit higher up, where if you just came into this movie and you just saw this was the first Star Wars movie you ever saw, you'd probably rate this a lot lower than like a C. That's going to do it for this review. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw here, please subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when new videos are posted. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. The review is now concluded.